hold on tight, because episode 11 of the summer Hikaru died takes us deep into family secrets, guilt, and the haunting question of what makes someone or something truly belong. If you thought this series had already shown you its darkest cards, think again, because this episode is packed with confessions, surreal folklore, and painful self-discovery that'll linger long after the credits roll. Let's break down what happened, dig into those twists, and make sense of the ending, because wow, there's a lot to analyze. First, the episode opens on a conversation that hasn't happened for years between Yoshiki and his dad. The air here is heavy, not just with family tension, but with generations, old baggage weighing both characters down. Yoshiki's curiosity about Hikaru's family isn't just idle chat, it's his way of chiseling through the layers of village tradition, supernatural belief, and actual tragedy. His dad decides to share the Indo family secret, a story that almost sounds too gruesome to be true, and, for the most part, it's been kept as legend. The story centers on the Kubatachi folktale, which as kids, the Indo men heard as part of growing up. It's about an ancestor whose wife died, transforming into an Okubi-sama, a spirit with a giant head. Desperate to bring his wife back, he bargains with the mountain god, offering up anyone's head except those of Indo family members. In classic tragic fashion, his wish is granted. His wife returns, but only as a sentient head, suffering before dying again within a single night. This selfishness triggers one of the series' signature mass death events. A third of the village perishes in grisly ways: suicide, murder, accidents, mysterious disappearances. Not one Indo dies, but an unforgettable curse lingers on. This cruel miracle leads us into the ritual the Indo family carries out every 5 years, ferrying the wife's head, still kept, disturbingly enough, in their temple up the mountain to apologize and beg the god to stay away. The family's sin isn't just historical, it's an emotional load. A reminder that one tragic decision rippled through generations, shaping rituals, expectations, and guilt. But it isn't just the past haunting these characters. Yoshiki's dad admits that, before Kohai, Hikaru's father, died, he was fighting to end these rituals, convinced that the mountain god wasn't what the elders believed. His death in an accident immediately throws suspicion. Was it really chance? Or did something, supernatural or otherwise, shut him up when he threatened tradition? This moment intensifies the episode's theme, the desire to break cycles and the fear and backlash of trying. As Yoshiki wrestles with the Indo family legacy, Hikaru pops up in domestic scenes that feel normal but are anything but. There's tension in how he interacts with food, family, and Yoshiki. Dinner is calling, and so are those tiny moments that make life feel normal, but underneath it all, the entity that's taken Hikaru's place is struggling. He's maintaining Hikaru's persona with skill, fooling everyone around him. But internally, the struggle is visible. He's torn between wanting to belong and feeling completely alien. With all these supernatural secrets, Yoshiki digs deeper into the village's history. He ponders, why did disease plague the region for so long, And how did it suddenly stop after the mass deaths? Is Hikaru's entity, Nanaki-sama, the mountain god, actually protecting the village or serving as a lightning rod, constantly drawing impurities to itself and the mountain? The implication is chilling tea, the entity's power hinges on collecting heads, granting requests in return, and maybe staving off horrors that would otherwise destroy everyone. But the episode's emotional heart comes when the entity, in Hikaru's form, and Yoshiki try to come to terms with their complicated relationship. They talk past wounds, about something that was put back inside Hikaru, but might hurt him or make him lash out. The entity admits it's grown weaker since splitting itself, hinting at some internal conflict or self-sacrifice. Yoshiki reassures him, but the fear lingers. Will he lose control and hurt Yoshiki again? There's a beautiful moment where they reflect on the real Hikaru, a kid full of energy, but weak at school, loved by underclassmen, always chasing after crushes, but never getting the girl, strong, never crying, but maybe wanting to. Yoshiki's nostalgia is almost unbearable because the entity isn't Hikaru, even if he looks, talks, and remembers just like him. Things hit a breaking point when the entity realizes it's changing, becoming mixed. The boundaries between the human world and the entity's world are blurring, letting impurities leak through and possibly causing more harm. This process threatened Hikaru's dad, and now may threaten Yoshiki. The entity fears that the only way to prevent disaster is to leave, to return to the mountain, possibly sacrificing its chance at belonging for the safety of everyone else. But even then, as someone points out, that won't solve the underlying problem. It's more of a temporary fix than real closure. Throughout the episode, we get glimpses of life going on at school, friends talking about past absences and mishaps, wondering about Hikaru and Yoshiki's recent behavior but brushing it all off. There's a contrast between mundane daily life and cosmic horror, making the unnatural in the show feel even more intrusive. And in the final scenes, the entity, feeling its monster nature, starts to accept its loneliness and alienation. It tells itself that wanting a home was arrogant, that nothing can change what it is. But when asked to come inside from the rain, it answers, "I'm home." It's a heart-wrenching mix of acceptance and denial. The entity still craves connection, still walks into the warmth of family life, even while believing it can never really be a part of it. So, what's episode 11 really about? It's about cycles of guilt and supernatural debt, yes, but even more, it's about the longing to belong versus the crushing reality of otherness. Yoshiki and the entity, once Hikaru, are both haunted, trapped between wishing for normalcy and accepting the truth. We get clear hints of danger ahead. The more the entity blurs into the human world, the more risk for everyone. Still, the episode doesn't offer easy answers, just the sense that some choices create suffering and some burdens might never be lifted. To sum it up, Episode 11 is a masterclass in supernatural, emotional storytelling. It connects deep family curses to the present, shows just how complicated being human, or finding home, really is, and leaves us anxious about what's next. The boundary between monster and person gets fuzzier, and that's both fascinating and terrifying. If this episode left you stunned or with theories, drop them in the comments. Don't forget to hit like, share this if you love dark story analysis, and subscribe so you never miss the next recap on The Summer Hikaru Died. Let's talk about that ending. Do you think Hikaru's entity can ever really belong? Let's chat below.